Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. My name's Carl, and thanks for tuning in this afternoon. And looking around the market today, so looked at all kinds of stocks. There's a lot of different varied signals out there, as Jeff mentioned, with the candlesticks. Kind of the same thing I'm seeing with the trend and the trend and the vibe trades. And just looking here at the futures, up five. The market's up about the same right now. Positive sign for the market. Looking at it technically, here at stock charts, just a flat day. We're right about this range for the third day in a row now. Yeah, slightly higher for the last 5 days, I guess. Uh, Not a lot of technical action going on here. Just consolidation, and really the longer it consolidates like this, the more bullish it gets. That seven's catching right up with it, and so far, this little bit of a pullback yesterday, and a little bit of a kind of a flat day today is bullish for this stock market. All right, let's. I already was talking about TLT. Let's look at TLT. So far, TLT it's broke through 108. Looking at this technically, it's holding 108. I couldn't argue adding more. It's still in the upper band. Everything as far as indicators, as the trend and everything appears to want to keep going. So I couldn't argue a position here. I'd use just under 108 as a stop if I were to get into a trade here on it. And audio's going in and out. Try Control R. See if that helps. I don't know, you might have already 1T. I'm not sure. Try that. So TLT is down just 19 cents. It's come off the lows of the day, which was positive for it. Again, it's still in the band. Still looks fine. XLE, this one's been trading up a little bit today. It's up there against the 7. It's up against 86. Now that's the mark. We don't want it to get through 86. That would, I'd love to see this run down into the close. It showed a little bit of strength today, but overall, technically speaking, nothing too unexpected. We'll keep an eye on this into today's close. Okay, and then the last one, AUI. And one thing I've noticed that's been showing up in a lot of the scans are some bullish trigger signals on gold miners, on some of the gold ETFs, with bullish triggers on them. So I'm still bullish here. Yeah, there's a little bit of a gravestone here today. We'll see how it closes. But I'm overall still bullish on gold. I still think that gold has a ways to go upward. All right, yesterday for the top three, we looked at St. Jude's. Let's go check out St. Jude's. It's still right there. The longer it stays here, the more it looks like it wants to push up through 57. Not doing it today, just remaining flat. A bearish move for it and drop that back below this, the $56 level. But right now, holding its own up there. A little light on the volume side today, and for the little move that it's made down 22 cents, light volume, that still remains bullish. All right, and the other one we looked at was Lowe's. Talked about Lowe's, came close to a trade on it, very close to a trend rider bull signal yesterday, and it just went right into it today. Up almost 2% right now. The volumes are pretty decent. Lowe's is breaking up 50. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see it consolidate around 50, try to hold that level. By the end of the day, who knows, it might sell off to hit that level, but a close above it, it's going to have to retest a little bit. But I like the volumes, the overall trend. It's been trying to break up through 49 now for over a month. Hasn't been able to do it. The fact that it's breaking up, running up into 50, tells me this thing wants to move. And when you bring up lows, you got to look at Home Depot. Up same 2%. Bigger looking breakout on this. It's shooting right up into the upper band. This one, it's been underperforming lows for a while, which is a little bit surprising. If I bring in the trend rider template, you can look at the Bollinger Band width here, starting to increase, and when this starts to expand, not increase, when it starts to expand, This tells you that it might push into the band and run higher. If it starts to contract a little bit right around the 77 mark, you might find a little bit of resistance. Really, a move up through 77 is going to put this thing up towards the $79 area. But very strong breakout on Home Depot. One of the other top ones we looked at yesterday, and Home Depot wasn't one of the top three. I just wanted to bring that up because we brought up Lowe's. But you guys, did you see it? I mentioned a little while ago. Joy Global, man, this thing pushed up big. Uh, the thing I liked about this, it got the Caterpillar news yesterday. Gap down. And this one and Deere, but this one showed a lot more strength than Deere. Deere gap down, ran higher yesterday, but this one gap down and ran and closed up towards the highs, much stronger than what Deere did. It basically hit resistance. But this one looked to me. Let's just go show you what I mean by Deere. Why it didn't look quite as strong yesterday. Yesterday, see 84. That's been a decent level of resistance for it since July, and the fact that it went up to 84 and stopped yesterday, versus, it told me it wasn't quite as strong as Joy Global. So if you would ask me which one to trade out of Deere and Joy Global pushed up through prior resistance yesterday, had very strong volume. The strong volumes remain today. It still looks bullish. This thing could push up to the 59 from here. It's blown past it for us. It gapped away from us. Well, it ran away from us today. Basically, it's now $3 higher than the 7. But yeah, it was a beautiful looking setup yesterday. And we got in. Congratulations. Okay. Today's top 3. And I brought up Tesla a lot. It's not going to be one of my top 3s. But Tesla, it's going up, retesting the 170 mark. Yeah, Elon Musk, he's been out and about. He's combating claims that he's not the greatest person to work for. There's been some of those articles out there about his people that works for him, and not being well liked. I don't know. He's kind of made the media rounds a little bit too, like a Starbucks did yesterday. The CEO of Starbucks. It's right at 170. Really, a push lower off 170 and run down and run back down with a candle similar to yesterday's action, maybe a little bit more bearish. It closes towards the lows. This thing's dropping. It's going probably to the 140 mark. But right now, it's just retesting 170. Technically, this is just what happens when stocks break a big support level like 170. It's likely to retest it. And that's what it's doing. All right, so top 3 today. Chesapeake. I like Chesapeake. It's got very strong volume on it right now. You could say it's a little. No, I won't even go there. I was looking at a rising 3 method, but not really. I mean, it gapped up and it's pulled back. It's retested the gap right there at 27.5. So it gapped last week, about a week ago. You can see it gapped up from 27.5 to 28.5. It's pulled back. It's starting to rise. Yeah, you could call it a variation of the rising 3, but it's not. It just kind of looks like one, right? The move here to confirm, well, basically what it did, came back, retested 27.5, bouncing up off it today on some good volume. To me, this thing looks like it could run up into the $30 range. Yeah, the heavy volume, the fact I like the volumes here is very strong. This thing's likely to move up another $1.50 or so. With Tesla, okay, let me back up here. Let me get into RTN. Let's go look at RTN. RTN broke up through 78. We're retesting the level. It gapped up above it today and has run down a little bit. And this one's on a great earnings announcement. Talked about this morning. They had great earnings. They beat their estimates, but seems like it was pretty decent. I've got my notes right here. RTN topped by 27 cents. The revenues were higher, and they raised their outlook, and they're down. That's just the market. And I was kidding around with Jeff saying, yeah, Icon probably sold his part of his stake here in Raytheon into all that strength. I don't know, that move yesterday, I mean, when Icon did that, just shows you, he doesn't care. It's all about him, and he's very wealthy because he has that. What I wouldn't call it a quality because I don't know what you'd want to call that, but that's why he's wealthy. Now he's trying to put a battle up against Apple right now. Okay, I'm getting off topic here, but with Raytheon, it's a pretty bearish move on a great earnings announcement to see them do that. And if you look over at Lockheed Martin, they're up today. Look at Northrop, up today. And with Raytheon down on a great earnings announcement, that's a pretty bearish statement. Very bearish. As far as an entry here on Raytheon, I wouldn't put an entry on this right away. I'd like to see this going to come back to the 7, start to prove to me a little bit that it's going to run lower. Besides a little bit of weakness on a great earnings announcement, but yeah, underperforming big time on great news, not a good thing. And yeah, okay, and then with Tesla, shorting or buying it. This one I'd wait for more confirmation. Confirmation of more downside is a move tomorrow or the next day bouncing down off of 170 on some pretty stiff volume. See, the falling volumes over here have been pretty high. The buying volume, look how light it's been. It's up $6 today. That's almost 4%. The buying volume is about half what it's been the last 3 days. So it doesn't. I wouldn't trust any type of upside here. I'd look for more confirmation, maybe tomorrow or the next day, of a pushback, run back down below the 170 mark, push back down below off of that. That's what I'd be looking for. And really, push off 170 would almost give you a bounce off of the 7 to the downside as well. Yeah, you're right, Jeff. Thanks for chiming in there on RTM. Chesapeake, a natural gas company. Yeah, it'll have a little bit to do there. Yeah, they got an upgrade this morning. It's going to help out them. Okay, thanks for chiming in there, Jeff. Appreciate that. All right, another one of my top 3 today. First one was Chesapeake. This one is DuPont. Oh, what a great looking chart here. It's going to have strong volumes. 3 days in a row, strong volumes. And 60 has been the mark for it. You could argue 60 and a half. All right. Either case, 60. In my opinion, when a stock comes up on a big multiple of 10, right, and here it came up on in August, 60, couldn't hold it, well, barely even touched it, and then it broke it here, and the retest failed. So in my opinion, 60 is the mark. Yeah, you could look at that and argue, oh yeah, 60-50 is the mark. It's just a range around 60, a little bit above it, a little bit below. But right now, it held 60 for the last 2 days. Today it's pushing up off of it on strong volume into the upper band. That's a great trend rider bull signal. Now, if you've noticed, you've been looking at the trades of the vibes and the trend riders. The vibes have been king. There's been so many vibe trades out there because we've seen a pretty trendy market. The trend riders are going to be a little bit shorter term. They're going to be more explosive moves when you get to the trend riders. Upside price target here, I'd say $3 to $4 higher at this point. Price pattern here, if you want to look at it that way, $3 higher would put it around the $64 level. And I say conservatively $3 higher. I just took the recent low here at 57 versus the breakout above 60, $3 right there. Could push his $64 range. If you want to get a little bit more aggressive, you could, it's not a very good cup and handle. It's more like a bullish double bottom off of a run, kind of a unique pattern there. But that's what I'd give it, conservatively about $3 higher off of 61. All right. And I've been battling. I like the chart of Baidu. talking with this about Jeff, and look how it's reacted around the 160 level. Some big volumes here in mid-October. I don't know, that the 8th and 9th of October as it hit 160, some great big volumes there. Notice the same big volumes coming in as we're hitting 160 again. Right now we're pushing up off of it. The volumes are going to be okay, but not a sign that this thing's really going to break out and run higher. Now it could, okay, but the odds are a little bit less of this really going to break out, running higher. The one to look at along this one, the ones that are really outperforming the Sohus and other ones, is Kihu, and it's battling 90. It's got strong volumes in here, but so far it's battling the 7. It's below the 7 right now, and it's battling 90. For a push above 90, you can see it pushed above it once before here a couple weeks ago. Came back to retest, it failed, and now it's back below the 7. So I have to watch this and wait for some more upside confirmation on it before I'd get ultra aggressive here. And this one remains on the top 3 right here. St. Jude's. The longer it stays here, the more bullish it gets. A push up through 57 right here would push this thing probably up towards the $60 range. And notice really light volumes today. It's pulled back slightly. A run and a push up through 57 right there would be the ticket. I like that trade. Aetna continues its trend rider bear signal. It's at an interesting point. If you look across here, about the point we're at right now, there's some support. Through June, July, August, right about this point, just under right around the $62 mark, is been some pretty good support for it for really since July. You could argue June. It's still in the lower band. This thing could still drop lower here. You can see the volumes still remain high. A push below, a close below 62 today is likely to take it towards the $60 level, another couple dollars. That's a pretty bullish, pretty bearish looking group of stocks. If you look at Cigna, same thing. Volumes have been huge on the selling days. The buying days a little bit light. A push down, the signal was right over here. As it shot up, retested the 7, pushed back off of it. Great looking signal. All right, now I mentioned a bull vibe signal on Las Vegas Sands, and I like AK's comments. He said it was the devil. Las Vegas Sands hasn't treated us too well in the room here. It's got a vibe bull signal, but the problem is stock right here. One of the big competitors down there, Wynn, vibe bull signal, but they announced earnings today after the bell. So it's going to be a fundamental move. All bets off. Great looking technical setup, but this will be a fundamental play within, shortly after the bell today once they announce earnings. So just have to watch these. There's no trade here. As far as now, I won't even bring that up. Okay, Pepsi, bearish engulfing pattern here on Pepsi. The volume's light. To be too accurate. What I really like to see with bearish engulfings is see those things get up on a level of resistance, a known level of decent resistance, and then you got a big bearish engulfing pattern on some decent volume. Usually the risk reward sets up really nice about that point. Don't see it here. There is some resistance at 83. You can see back here from April through May, June. Hit it again here in September. We're right up on it now. We're just above it, bearish engulfing. Just the volume's a little bit light. It's had a nice run here. Had a similar candle over here. Almost a bearish engulfing here. I just don't quite trust it right now. I need a little bit more confirmation. But not too bad looking. I've seen quite a few of these bearish engulfings, and there's bullish engulfings today. I've been looking at them all. So we're talking little candlestick patterns here. Big bearish engulfing here on XLU. A little bit of resistance up there at 69, but look at sorry, 39, but look at the volume, just about non-existent, not too trustworthy. You look at the buying days, how the extremely high volume came in, selling day, even on a bearish engulfing, ultra light. This might match the volume of 3 days ago on the 21st, if that. So the volume's light for a lot of confirmation that way. Another stock we've been looking at here is Goodyear. And I talked how it dropped below 22, came back up to it, retested it a couple days ago, and then yesterday came up to it. And I was saying if it pushes lower off of 22, breaks into the lower band, great looking technical bearish trend rider bear setup. But what happened? It gapped above 22 and has pushed up off of it a little bit today. So no downside moves here yet. And it might not. It might just push up towards the $23 range. That's what it's done the last little while. When it's hit 22, it's gone to 23. Let's look at Valero. Now this thing's been on this huge run. Had a big old gravestone yesterday on a nice run. And guess what? Follow through. On volume even. This hasn't happened a whole lot this year. We've seen, we hadn't happened a whole lot this year when you've seen some bearish candle patterns just not work out. But the last couple days, we're starting to see follow through in the bearish candle patterns, which is interesting. I kind of like it when things start to get a little bit more accurate out there. Look at Kellogg's. Nothing technically significant there on Kellogg's. Another stock that I want to look at today is Visa. Jeff brought this up for the candlestick training. It broke up above, well, it hit 200 as resistance. A couple little candles there, even kind of a little, whatever you want to call it, a bullish, abandoned candle. We need to start naming these ourselves. But a really nice run up of 200. Check out the volume. Really light volume on a strong, what appears to be a strong breakout above 200. Really light volume. Don't trust it quite as much on that lighter volume. Maybe we'll get some heavy volume come in towards the close. That happens. It's happened quite a bit recently when you get the volume coming in right at the last little bit of the day. The J.M. Schmucker Company. The volumes are light as it's trying to push up above 109. That's been some pretty good resistance for it. Now you can see a double bottom pattern right there. Confirmation here would be a move up above 109 on some strong volumes. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see it retest that level. But I'd like to see the volumes pick up and a break above that 109 level. That's telling me that, okay, it's probably confirmed this double bottom. You could put a price target on it based on the pattern. You take the bottom here of the double bottoms here, which is 105, to where it would break out would be 109. You could say that this stock's going to move another $4 higher from the 109 mark, which would put it right at prior resistance. I always find that fascinating how these patterns work, and a lot of times they'll put it right up there at those levels. So that's what you could expect on a break here for Schmuckers. Got to write that down. Now I'm not trading it. I'm going to wait for some confirmation here. You want confirmation. Today's action, candlestick action, today's action where it dropped back down towards the 7 and is pushing back up off of the 7 is bullish. Again, the volumes are light. I'd like to see the volumes pick up a little bit as it's breaking up to the 109 mark. That would give me confirmation that this thing's going to run higher. Another stock we talked about today is Micron. Watch Micron closely. If you're in the trade, to me, it's got to break up through 17 before I'd get out. Right now, it's just battling the 7. If it pushes down back off of the 7 tomorrow, you're sitting in a good situation. But right now, you look at the volumes. They're light volumes on this move up today. The last little while, whenever it's come up to the 7, it's pushed back down below it. Today's really the first good test of that 7-day average. It's just sitting right on top of it. But again, I'd give it till about 17 before I'd exit the trade if I was in it. A run back lower tomorrow, a push back down off of it, that's what you're looking for. And as far as a target here, there's not much until all the way down here to 15 on it. And in the early 15, 14.5 is even better. It'd be an initial price target I'd set would be around 15, 14.5. Touch more aggressive, but really there's not much, shouldn't be there a lot of support there at 15. It's just under it. All right, everybody. I'll be on chat with the rest of the day. If you have any questions, let me go look at Apple. Jay, it sounds like you're in Apple. And congratulations. Yeah, this thing shot up above the 520 mark. Well, 510 was the past level of resistance. It pushed through that on some pretty good volumes. And the fact that it gapped up a couple days ago, ran all the way back to 510 and ran all the way back up to 520. What a volatile day. That's when they announced their new iPads. Now the stock wants to run higher. Now you've got a guy on your side, Jay, you got an icon on your side. I don't know if you like that or not, but he's on your side on this one. That guy's going to do whatever he can to make some money, and he's shooting for a seat on the board. That's what he's after. He's even testing the waters. From what I've read, testing the waters for a possible suit against Apple. Now that takes some nerve, huh? I guess if you're a billionaire activist investor, you might have a shot at something like that. And that guy knows the laws inside and out. He's going to use every little teeny law to his advantage. That's how he works. Okay, with Hologic here. Resistance been right there at 22.5. You can see that level from over late July, early August. Between 22.5 and 22.75 should encounter some pretty good resistance at that point. Notice the volumes remain really, really light on this one. I like the fact that it's run down, the last 3 days, 4 days in a row to hit that 7, and it's pushed up above it every single time since. I do think it's going to have a time to get through that level somewhere, up there between 20 up near that 22.5, that 22.75 mark. Thank you. But overall, if I was in a trade, I'd exit if it closed below the 7, stay in it until that happens. But overall, it seems to want to hold that 7 pretty ferociously. But getting up through 22.75 is going to take some doing for it. You're going to need a lot more volume to come in for that to happen. Okay, let's look at Vale, or Vale, right? Vale here, so it broke through the 7 yesterday. Not big volumes, but they're okay volumes. Broke through. Support should be just under it here. By the end of the day, see if it holds 16. If it can hold 16, that would be somewhat positive for it. Looking for a put on it, I'd like to see 16. It's a pretty decent level. I don't see any big confirmation here, really bearish action on it yet. We've had the initial pullback, but we've seen these pullbacks in the uptrend here. Initial pullback, what I'd be looking for is see if it sets a higher low at this point. If it starts to break and run below 16, it could come down here to the 15.25 mark, which has been some past support for it. But no, I don't see an entry right here. Again, if I was in on it, I'd exit. If I'm bearish on it and I'm in the trade, exit when I close above the 7. But the price target right down there around 15.25. Yeah, that's the stop would be right there and a close below the 7. Haven't talked about Starbucks yet. I'll go take a look at it. Let me look at EEM. So EM gaps down yesterday, and today it's just holding those losses so far. 42.5. There's, I wouldn't call it a huge level of support there for it. The bigger one's going to be down here towards 42. It's holding that level both days. Today's a little bit lighter volumes on it. When they get these gaps, it kind of throws the technicals off for a while. Prior gap up was 42. Yeah, if it refills that gap, if it breaks 42.5, it's going to end up there. But no, I don't see a trade on it. If I'm in a put on it, I'd hold on to it today. The more bearish action than anything, right here. If you've got a put on it, and my stop would probably be today. I'd tighten it up a little bit. Probably today's open. If I was in a trade on EEM, but I don't see a trade as far as potential right here, right now. It's not there. This gap action kind of throws the technicals off for me. Yeah, you could say there's a little bit of an abandoned candle up here. There is. That happened. Was definitely confirmed yesterday. More downside action would be expected, but 42. There's bound to be a little bit of support at 42. Starbucks, it's struggling here. It might try to hold on to that 7-day average. Yeah, the CEO made some rounds yesterday afternoon on Kramer. You can see the volume's pretty high in here. Watch this one. If you're still in a trade on this one, it's a little bit of a tough call, but that's 7-day average. If it closes back towards the lows of the days, I would exit. You can expect some support at 78. All right, it's been in a beautiful bullish run. I don't think the move's over, but if it closes above the 7, fantastic. To me, if I'm in it, I'd have a little bit more at risk, but if it broke 78, that would be ultra bearish for it, because that seems some pretty big level of resistance for it here in the past. That's likely to be that new support level. Really, if it holds 79 at this point, would be fairly bullish for it. So I wouldn't get out right here. Yeah, I wouldn't get out right here if it hangs on to this level. So overall, as far as the trend goes, there's nothing significant that broke any that said there was a break of any kind of a trend here. And today's volume's pretty heavy, but there's not breaking any huge support levels. It gapped down. Not breaking any huge support levels. Hang in on it. If it gets much lower, then I would exit. In fact, if it closed towards the lows, I'd probably get out. All right, everybody. I'll be on chat with you the rest of the day. Jeff will be on here in about another half an hour or so, and wrapping things up. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye bye. You bet, TradeHound.